Well, good morning. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. Really glad you could join me today out here in the vegetable garden. It's a beautiful sunny day here today in Pennsylvania. Our last frost date was a couple days ago, which was May 15th. And so now it's time to plant those warm weather crops. I recently paid a visit to Ray's greenhouse locally in Telford, PA, and bought all my warm weather crops. And so today I wanted to share with you some tips and ideas on how you can plant Sungold cherry tomatoes plants in your garden. This is one of my favorites. So thanks for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. You know, they provide these plant labels, and you know, on these labels sometimes they do give you some helpful information here. It says that these Sungold cherry tomatoes, they mature in 57 days and the fruit size is 1 inch. And you know, that's the one thing I love about these cherry tomatoes, is that once they start maturing on the vine, you can come out and just pluck them and eat them right off the vine. So behind the tag here it says golden orange fruit is loaded with scrumptious sweetness, and it's an indeterminate plant, which means it'll just keep on growing. You want to provide a trellis for your tomato plant here. You know, you have two varieties of tomatoes. You have the determinate, it's called determinate. They get 36 to 42 inches high. And then you have the indeterminate, like these Sungold cherry tomatoes. I also planted the Sweet Million. Those are also an indeterminate. And so you want to make sure you provide trellis for these indeterminate plants. What's nice is these will keep on growing right up to your frost. And so I'm here underneath or alongside my cattle panel trellis. I did a video last year on how you can build this, I think for under $45. And so I'm going to be growing these up here, and these just make a wonderful trellis to grow these plants up on. And so you also want to be growing these in a nice, rich, fertile topsoil. I'll be growing these in my composted leaf mulch that's amended with topsoil. And so anyhow, let's get started. I'm going to be planting these right here. I also added a 3-inch layer of my composted leaf mulch that's amended with topsoil to this bed here. And I also amend my compost with topsoil because it adds more nutrients to the soil. And I ended up paying $1.25 for one of these plants. And these plants are going to produce hundreds and hundreds of tomatoes. So just think about it. For that small investment of cost, you can save so much money, plus you'll get some good, healthy, organic food. And so I'm just simply going to use my hands. Since the soil's so loose, you could use a trowel if you prefer. And what you can do is I take off the first 2 branches on my tomato plant here. Just pinch them off and plant the tomato a little bit deeper, because the actual trunk or the stem is also the root. And so you can plant these nice and deep. It'll result in a little stronger, healthier plant. And then I'll just plant this one about a foot away. Again, something really easy to do. I like buying these seedlings or transplants. They give you a nice jump on the season. It makes your garden season a lot easier by using these transplants. I also direct sow a lot of my seeds out in the garden. And you know, it never hurts when you take a plant out of the pack is to look at the roots. Make sure they're not root bound. And you can see how this definitely is not root bound. It's a nice healthy plant. It hasn't been in the pack too long. And so you just dig yourself a nice deep hole, lightly tamp around your plant, and then make sure you keep these well watered during the growing season. These are also going to be getting a good 8 hours of sunlight here on this cattle panel trellis. So you want to make sure your tomatoes get a good 6 to 8 hours. You know, the more the better for these fruit-bearing plants. And so anyhow, I hope this video is able to give you some tips and ideas on how you can plant your Sungold cherry tomatoes. It's something I would really encourage you to think about growing in your garden. These are just so sweet. You know, last year I also planted some yellow pear tomatoes, and I did a comparison taste and on a video, and these Sungold cherry tomatoes were much sweeter. And again, these are going to probably grow a good 12 feet up these trellis, up this cattle panel trellis. And then I'm going to use some of my twine, jute twine, to just tie these plants as they grow up the cattle panel trellis. So now I hope this video is able to give you some tips and ideas on how to grow these. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the section below. And you can also visit us at plantsmartliving.com. And there you can learn more about gardening and also how you can reclaim your health by adopting a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. Well, anyhow, I hope you have a great day gardening. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.